Hello, I'm Sunny, and welcome to Curious Concepts. Today, I'd like to talk about one of the greatest minds to ever live, Leonardo da Vinci. What a fascinating man. Born out of wedlock in 1452 in a small town 20 miles north of Florence, in a little town called Vinci. This young man did not start off life well. His parents were not married at the time. His father was betrothed to another woman. He was a respectable notary in Florence. However, his mom was a common woman of a farmer's daughter and not very well known. They would both go on to marry separate people. She would marry a local artisan. He would marry his betrothed. It's not real clear at what time Leonardo moved to live with his father in Florence. However, being an illegitimate child at the time, he had no rights to his father's business. And he also did not get a formal education. His family just would not pay for it. So he got a low-level education in mathematics, reading, and writing. However, he was very talented, very curious boy. And his father recognized this. And with his father's connections in Florence, and with his own raw talents, he was able to get into a prominent guild at the time, ran by Andrea di Verrocchio, who was a student of Donatello. Verrocchio was also the lead artisan in Florence at the time. This is important because the guilds in Florence at the time governed Florence. The De Medici family were the bankers and the rightful rulers of Florence. But it was the artisans and the guilds that governed Florence. With Leonardo starting this guild at just the age of 14 years old, he had a great opportunity. He had the opportunity to shine and show what he was made of. He quickly became Verrocchio's top apprentice, and Verrocchio demanded a lot of his students. You see, Verrocchio was not just an artist. He also demanded that his students excel in metallurgy, mechanics, engineering, human anatomy, and many other things. And it was because of this that Leonardo done so well. He had such a curious mind, such a great imagination, that no matter what he put his mind to, he mastered. He was determined to not stay that low-level commoner. He was going to become the best there was at whatever he did. And boy, did he do it. At just age 20, he had earned the respect and the right to open his own guild. However, he didn't do this. He stayed with Verrocchio for several more years. When the De Medici family commissioned Verrocchio to paint the baptism of Christ, he had asked Leonardo to help him with this. Leonardo, of course, did as he was asked. And when he painted the angel on the left in the painting, holding Christ's robes, Verrocchio noticed the superiority of which his student had drawn that angel compared to his own. That he put down his own paintbrush and never painted again. And it was at this point that Leonardo's greatness would just continue to grow, and he would become recognized throughout Europe. But painting wasn't the only thing he knew how to do. As a matter of fact, it was just a small percentage of all his contributions. You see, Leonardo had a mind that just would not stop. He would easily get bored with his paintings, and there were sometimes his paintings would go unfinished for years. So, when an upheaval at the time began between the Catholic Church and the Medicis, mostly over money, Leonardo changed his focus from his paintings, went to the Medicis, and offered his services. And he had designed and drawn very, very intricate war machines, many of which was never created until hundreds of years later. As a matter of fact, his drawings and designs are still studied to this day. Leonardo had designed the first tank, scuba gear, multiple flying machines, new bridges that could be maneuvered and put into place by human beings just walking in them there and here. They were light but strong. Catapults, cannons, and the list just goes on and on and on. He had such a great mechanical mind. And not only did he have that mind in mechanics, but in mathematics. Even though he had a limited mathematic education, he could see things nobody else could. And it was Leonardo da Vinci that discovered the golden ratio. And you can see this clearly in the Vitruvian Man. And you can also see it in some of his other paintings, such as the Mona Lisa. And speaking of the Mona Lisa, that's quite mysterious in itself. For one, no one knows who Mona Lisa was, or even if she ever existed. She could have just been someone in his imagination. She could have been someone he'd seen walking down the street. You see, he always carried journals with him his whole life, and he would write everything in his journals, whether it be his grocery list, or it may be a drawing of a person he'd seen on the street, or a bird in flight. He always had that journal, and he was always writing in it. There was enough content in his journals to fill 15,000 pages. So we don't really know who Mona Lisa is. There's no document of anything ever being commissioned for him to paint this painting. Now, there are conspiracies out there that say that there's codes within that painting. In the right eye, there's the letters LV, and in the left, the letter CE. Now, what could these letters mean? No one knows. And then you have the mysterious smile, whether she's smiling or not. But Leonardo had captured the light and shadow so well in this painting that no matter where you stand when you're looking at the painting, it seems that her eyes are following you, and they were always directly on you. But what I find most intriguing about this picture, or painting I should say, is that Leonardo didn't start this painting until he was 53 years old. And he carried that painting with him always, continuously contributing to it, until the day he died at the age of 67. And the only reason we have the painting that we do today, in the condition it is today, is because he died. One of his other most famous paintings, The Last Supper. is a very intriguing painting in itself. It took Leonardo 3 years to paint this painting. And then when he was painting it, he decided to experiment with oil-based paints. Painting the mural on a plaster wall, it came out beautiful. Just beautiful. However, the moisture and the dampness in the plaster itself degraded the oils in the paints, and in just a few decades, the painting was ruined. Luckily, Da Vinci didn't live long enough to see this happen. However, the painting had become so famous so quickly that it had started to be reproduced. And to this day, The Last Supper still is the most reproduced picture ever. That is amazing. Some of the other things that Leonardo done in his life that also could be considered genius is he had a fascination for the human anatomy, for how the mechanics of the human body worked. And due to his reputation, he was permitted to do autopsies on human corpses in many hospitals throughout Italy. He had detailed drawings of the human anatomy, the heart and vascular system, the muscles, the sinew, everything about the human body. And it was these detailed drawings that helped propel the human species to better understand the human body and move forward in medicines. I was going to start this video, or create this video, and talk about the mysteries of Leonardo da Vinci. That's what I was really wanting to do. But the more research I done on Leonardo, the more fascinated I became in the man himself. By rights, with all the obstacles this boy had at a young age, if it would have been anybody else, we would never even know who he was. People point to, well, he was a genius in so many areas. Yes, that's true. But what made his genius? It is my belief that his curious mind and his vivid imagination, he was smart enough to understand that these were his strengths, and he used them as tools to propel him through life, to overcome all the diversities that life threw at him. And it is that very thing that we have created this channel for in the first place. To always remain curious, to keep that open mind, to use your own imagination, to never limit yourself to somebody else's ideologies, to always grow, and to continue to grow. I'm Sunny, and this is Curious Concepts. And if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay safe, keep an open mind, and remember, always stay curious.